I cannot believe that Man City lost back-to-back games in the Premier League. And that was the big one last weekend, Arsenal winning late on, a 1-0 win. Before and after the Arsenal win on Pinnacle, City to win the title was listed, according to the markets, at minus 175, Arsenal at plus 550. After the game, City's odds have come down to minus 140, Arsenal at plus 400, Liverpool at plus 550, and Spurs at plus 1100. What do you make of that result, and what do you make of the markets and the way they've responded?
I think the result was. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest, because it was a game in which it looked like neither team wanted to lose, really, after about 40 minutes. I do think it was interesting that Man City managed just one shot in the second half, and they managed just 4 shots in total for the entire game. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal, because they won the shot count, with a better team, because their shots were of far less quality based on the expected goals, but I did find that quite surprising. And I do think it just underlines that, we can talk about De Bruyne, we can talk about Haaland. The most important player to Manchester City is Rodri, without a shadow of a doubt. Not only does he provide that solidity in midfield and protecting the defence, but he is probably one of their best ball players in terms of advancing through the lines and breaking lines with passes and getting people on the half turn to cause problems. Without him, they just don't look the same team. And I know he tinkered with a few things, didn't he? Brought Bernardo Silva into more of a deeper role. Obviously, alongside Kovacic, he was very fortunate to stay on the pitch. But yeah, it's no surprise, is it? They've lost 3 of the last 4 in all competitions, all 3 domestically when Rodri's been suspended. The one they won was when he played in the Champions League against a good Leipzig team. So I do think that there's a bit of a common denominator there. He's obviously back now for... Man City will be hoping the rest of the season, but just something to keep an eye on is the number of minutes he has in his legs over the last couple of years, Rodri. So towards the back end of the year, you wouldn't be surprised if he took not quite a Fabinho drop of form, but of that kind of ilk where he just starts to look a little bit tired, because he didn't miss a beat last season in the treble season. And yeah, this time around, I know he's had 3 games off, but he will be running to the ground again because they just don't trust anyone else.
Andrew Beasley did a great job on the podcast last week. He was explaining some metric, I don't have it in front of me, about how Man City performs with Rodri and without Rodri. I'm not sure if you have that data available to you, but it jumps off the page just how good they are with him in the team and how much they struggle a little bit with him out of the team. Like Bernardo Silva was playing in a much deeper role. It just didn't look right to me. Obviously, Calvin Phillips' season is not coming. It's going to be the off season when he finds himself somewhere else. I mean, it's just, I'm not sure if that affects the way that you look at City here. Are some seeds of doubt being planted around their title credentials, or is that being blown out of proportion? Like, let's be honest, there was nothing in that game. Arsenal rather fortunate to come away with the 3 points. That game had goalless draw written all over it in terms of the way the game was playing out. So what do you make of the quote unquote title race? Is it still City's to lose? Like I'm looking at, Spurs and Arsenal have done really well out of the gate. I still have my eye on Liverpool here, and they were a preseason bet I made. I still think that they're very strong with room for improvement, actually, in this Liverpool side. What do you make of it, Jake?
City have shown a bit of vulnerability there with Rodri, and the stat that you're talking about is that since he came into the club, they've lost 5 of 15 Premier League games that Rodri has missed, and lost just 5 of 67 that he's played, which is kind of just reinforces the importance there. I think City are still fair favourites. I wouldn't be putting, that their price at minus 140 kind of reflects that the market, everyone betting, everyone who's watched them suggests that they will, get things right. But I do have my doubts. Just obviously the injury list is big. Some good players that are missing there, some great players that are absent. They will come back at some point, but it's just a matter of when for me, because if you look at the upcoming schedule, I think this is a defining period for City. The next games they play Brighton, Manchester United, Bournemouth, which is probably the only game out of this little run that they'll be heavily fancied to win. Then they play Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Villa. So they've got 7-8 games there with just one with basically they play 7 of the teams we expect to finish in the top 8, which I think is Yeah, it is a huge period for City. Just the fixture list in general is set up to, well, looking at the start of the season, we always looked at this schedule for City to start: Burnley, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Fulham, West Ham, Forest, Wolves, and thought, well, there's every chance they could be on maximum points. They nearly
Yeah.
did that. They lost just once against Wolves, and then it was started with Arsenal, and you're getting that really tough schedule, and it's just a case of, can they click into gear? We know they usually click into gear in the second half of the season, but there's every chance if they don't click into gear over this next 7 games, they could drop points in 4 or 5. And the way I tipped Arsenal at the start of the season to win the league, I think they're still a good shout to do that, because they are playing in what you would have to call an uninspiring, but they're playing uninspiring winning football. That's what they're doing. They don't blow you away when you watch them. They're not like emphatically beating teams like they were at this stage of last season, but I see that as a positive. It's almost like they're trying to keep something in the tank for later in the campaign. If they can just edge to 1-0s, 2-0s, 2-1s, and then kick into gear and really get on a run, I think they could do well. But yeah, looking at City's schedule, this could be a time to oppose them, because the way in which they've been playing has not been brilliant, even though they have played an easy schedule. So equally, if you think that City is still the bet, then I would advise waiting until maybe December and then looking at the table, because you might get a decent price about City to turn things around like they did last season.